I had been my sister's little shadow ever since I was a child. The day my sister found out that she was the fake fairy princess who had been switched at birth, she messaged me. Xiao Bao, your new sister is coming home. You have to stand on my side. Once she gets here, let's team up and mess with her. On the day my new sister returned, the girl arrived wearing clothes that had been washed until the color had faded away. Her expression was dark and gloomy. I was just about to invite her out for a cup of tea when floating comments suddenly appeared before my eyes. Here she comes! The supporting girl and supporting guy are about to join forces and bully her. The female lead has already suffered so much. She finally managed to return home, and now these two demons are going to torment her too. It's fine. Don't be fooled by how pitiful the female lead looks right now. In the future, she'll become the most powerful person in this entire story. She'll bankrupt these two little demons without even breaking a sweat, and they'll be left squatting by the roadside, picking through trash just to eat. Yeah, no. That absolutely cannot happen. I immediately stepped forward, hugged my new sister, and said sweetly, "Welcome home, sis." At that moment, the light suddenly returned to the gloomy girl's eyes. My sister and I had been raised like treasures in our parents' palms since childhood. We grew up surrounded by luxury, wearing fine clothes and eating the best food. We were the kind of siblings everyone envied. Our family was wealthy. Every year we threw a birthday party at our villa, especially my sister Licia. She had the looks, the grades, and the talent. She could play the piano, and she was stunningly brilliant in every way. Since childhood, she had always been the kind of kid other parents used as an example for their own children, and I had always been her little shadow. When she chased after the school heartthrob, I delivered her love letters for her. When she skipped class to play games, I covered for her. When she was too lazy to do her homework, I stayed up all night and finished it for her. Because I was the adopted son of the Lee family, my sister used to tease me when I was little. She would say, "I'm the boss of this family. If you don't listen to me, I'll tell mom and dad to send you back to the orphanage." She scared me so badly that I cried. From that day onward, without even realizing it, I developed a people-pleasing personality. I followed behind Licia every day, calling her sis this and sis that, always trying to make her happy, until one day when my sister told me to buy breakfast for the school heartthrob again. I was already halfway there when I received a message from her. "Hey Xiaobao, you should be helping me out on your own, you know? I spent all my allowance buying gifts for the school heartthrob lately, so I'll owe you the delivery fee for now. Please get breakfast for Cheesy again tomorrow too. Oh, and Xiaobao, your new sister is coming home. You have to stand on my side. Once she gets here, let's gang up on her and show her who's boss." Sure enough, the moment I got home, I saw my mother bringing back an unfamiliar girl. She stood in the darkest corner of the entrance hall. Her long black hair nearly covered her eyes. Her head was lowered, and no one could see her expression clearly. She wore a school uniform that had been washed until it had faded white. Her face was thin and delicate, while her eyes carried a gloominess that did not belong to someone her age. Her hands were covered in calluses. The moment I saw her face, I froze. Licia was already considered exceptionally beautiful among people our age. But this girl was even prettier than my sister. She looked exactly like Mrs. Lee, as though they had been carved from the same mold. Her features were sharp and striking, the kind of rich, glamorous beauty that belonged on a completely different level from everyone else. So there really were people who could somehow carry both poverty and nobility on the same face. Her name was Li Yanran. She was Mrs. Lee's biological daughter, the child who had been switched at birth. In other words, Licia had enjoyed her luxurious life for a full 17 years in Li Yanran's place. But even after Li Yanran returned, Mrs. Lee still carefully patted Licia's hand and comforted her gently. "Don't be nervous. You are still the most important child in this family." I watched the entire scene closely. Mrs. Lee's attitude decided where I stood. I had planned to keep pleasing Licia. Li Yanran had suffered terribly while living outside. There was not a single part of her body that looked untouched by hardship, yet she had a pair of wolf-like eyes. She did not say a word. She simply stared silently at Mrs. Lee until Mrs. Lee felt chills all over her body. Only then did Mrs. Lee walk over and hug her. "I'm sorry, my child. You have suffered so much all these years." When Licia saw that, she let out a cold little laugh. "Mom, you two are the real family. Now that you've reunited, I'll leave." Where Mrs. Lee could not see, Licia raised her brows at Li Yanran and smiled smugly. Li Yanran remained cold and expressionless, as if it made no difference whether Mrs. Li loved her or not. But I was the only one who noticed the faint loneliness in her expression. Mrs. Li said to her, Li Yanran, don't hold it against her. She is a victim too. At that moment, reader comments suddenly appeared in front of me again. I'm speechless. How is she a victim when she got the most out of this situation? Li Xia enjoyed 17 years of luxury in her place, while Li Yanran was stuck with that abusive man, doing endless chores and getting beaten every day. If that's what being a victim looks like, then I want to be one too. Li Yanran remained silent. Mrs. Li seemed to feel a little guilty too. She took my hand and led me over to Li Yanran. Come on, be good. Call her your sister. Li Xia pinched me and winked at me, giving me a meaningful look. Whenever my sister wanted to bully someone, I was always the first one to jump in and join the attack. I started working up the emotion, looked at Li Yanran, raised my chin, and said mockingly, So you're my sister? The reader comments appeared again. Ugh, I can't even bear to watch this. Seriously, the female lead has lived such an inhuman life all these years. She finally gets to come home only to be bullied by these two selfish demons. It's fine. Don't be fooled by how pitiful the female lead looks now. She'll become the biggest boss in this story later. She'll bankrupt these two demons easily, leaving them with nothing but roadside garbage to eat. Bankrupt? Eating garbage? Nope, absolutely not. I had spent so long trying to please Li Xia. I had put in so much emotional labor just to live a good life. I had to save myself. I immediately changed my tone, walked up to Li Yanran, and held out my arms to hug her. This sister is so pretty. I like her. My name is Li Fei. Welcome home, sis. The girl froze. Then I took Li Yanran's hand and led her toward the dining room. Sis, you're way too skinny. That won't do. We're about to eat, so you need to have more food, okay? The readers were stunned. What's going on? Isn't the supporting guy supposed to bully Li Yanran? He must be planning something worse. He's Li Xia's accomplice, after all. He definitely helped bully Li Yanran plenty of times. At the dinner table, Mrs. Li instinctively told the maid to place all the delicious dishes in front of Li Xia and me. In front of Li Yanran were only stir-fried vegetables that I did not like to eat. Mrs. Li suddenly seemed to realize something. She quickly picked up a piece of sweet and sour fish and placed it in Li Yanran's bowl. Li Yanran, this sweet and sour fish is delicious. Eat more. Li Yanran glanced at it and said, I never eat fish. I'm allergic to seafood. Mrs. Li froze awkwardly for a moment, then moved the fish into Li Xia's bowl instead. Li Xia, you've been tired from studying lately. Eat more. Li Xia smiled smugly. Thanks, Mom. Sweet and sour fish is my favorite. Make it again tomorrow. Oh, and Mom, can you make a seafood feast tomorrow? My little brother told me today that he really wants seafood. Right, Xiaofei? The reader comments appeared once more. This supporting girl is disgusting. Look at her acting all innocent and sweet. She clearly knows the female lead is allergic to seafood. So this is where she was waiting to stir up trouble. I seriously can't wait to see these two go bankrupt and end up homeless. I remembered that the supporting guy was good-looking and soft-hearted, which made him especially attractive to creepy people. No wonder someone with bad intentions would target him later. Suddenly, my food did not taste good anymore. My survival instincts went through the roof. I wiped my mouth with a napkin and said, but I'd rather eat sweet and sour chicken, cola chicken wings, mapo tofu, and matsutake chicken soup. I shook Mrs. Li's arm and whined sweetly, Mom, can I have those instead? Mrs. Li always fell for that. She lightly tapped my nose and smiled. All right, I'll have the chef make them for you tomorrow, you little foodie. The moment Li Xia saw me speaking up for Li Yanran, her expression turned ugly. I lowered my head and kept eating as if I had not noticed. Ever since I was young, I had always been used to accommodating Li Xia and pleasing her. It had practically become an instinct, so even refusing her once felt strange to me. I felt guilty without even meaning to. I even felt like I had done something wrong, but I could not take the blame for her. After dinner, Mrs. Li arranged a bedroom for Li Yanran. Her room was close to mine. I thought we had made it through the night safely, but then the reader comments appeared again. Seriously? The supporting girl deliberately soaked the female lead's blanket with water. That's so disgusting. Spring has only just started, and it's still freezing at night. How is she supposed to sleep? It's fine. When I think about how those two vicious siblings won't even have a place to sleep in the future, how they'll be fighting beggars for space under an overpass when it rains and still get chased away, I feel better. The readers might have felt better, but I nearly had a heart attack. I immediately jumped out of bed barefoot, grabbed a new blanket, and rushed over. I knocked gently on the door. Lee Yanran opened it, and when her gaze landed on me, she paused. I lifted the blanket and said, "Sis, I heard your blanket got wet. You can have mine." She was clearly stunned. She stared at me for a long time before she finally spoke. Her voice was slightly hoarse in a way that was hard to notice. "Why are you so good to me?" I gave her a huge smile. "Because you're my sister. We're family." It was as if those words had burned her. "Family?" she repeated. I nodded. "I'm very capable, you know. I can take care of you and I can protect you too." She suddenly smiled. "I'm the older sister. I should be the one taking care of my little brother and protecting him." Hearing that made something warm and itchy bloom in my heart. Because at home I had always been the one taking care of Licia. I rubbed my nose. "Sis, what do you like to eat? I'll write it down and have the chef make it." She tugged lightly at the corner of her lips. "There's no need. I already like everything you mentioned today." I grinned. I knew it. Who doesn't like cola chicken wings? For some reason, after hearing what I said, Lee Yanran laughed for the first time. I stared at her in a daze. She looked so beautiful when she smiled too. The next day, Licia did not wait for me to go to school with her. I knew she was angry, and honestly, I felt a little wrong too. I had spent so long trying to please her, yet just because I did not listen to her once, she ignored me. Then a message from the school heartthrob, Shu Shun, popped up on my phone. "Li Fei, I want the green pepper shredded pork, braised noodles from the school cafeteria for breakfast today, but it's too far away, so I'll have to trouble you to get it for me." Ever since my sister started constantly asking me to run errands and buy breakfast for her, Shu Shun had gotten used to it too. She even started ordering specific meals like it was completely natural. I wanted to reply, "If you want it, buy it yourself." But after thinking about it, I deleted the message and replied, "Okay." The truth was, I did not like Shu Shun. On the first day of school, our homeroom teacher asked us to introduce ourselves. I had barely said one sentence when she suddenly burst out laughing. "Oh my God, you're a guy. Do you really have to sound that cute? I'm getting goosebumps. That's hilarious. We're already in high school, so why are you deliberately acting adorable?" The whole class started laughing with her. My face burned hot, and I wanted nothing more than to find a hole and crawl into it. I was from the South, and my voice had naturally always been a little soft and high. Licia kicked the desk. "Enough! Stop laughing!" Shu Shun curled her lips. "You're protecting him so fiercely. Can't anyone even make a joke? He's way too sensitive." Licia reached over and patted my head. "Li Fei, don't take it to heart." I lowered my head, feeling warmth from the palm of her hand. "But Licia, why did you end up liking her later?" Although Licia often threatened to send me back to the orphanage when we were little, after all those years of trying to please her, she had actually started treating me very well. I had low blood sugar, and I often forgot to bring candy with me. After the third period in the morning, I would start feeling dizzy. From then on, she always kept several candies in her pocket without ever getting tired of it. Whenever I forgot to bring some myself, she would walk over, unwrap an orange candy, place it in my mouth, and smile as she said, "Idiot! You always forget. What a pain." Actually, I had stopped forgetting to bring candy a long time ago, but I would pretend that I had forgotten because I enjoyed those rare moments when my sister spoiled me. Then Shu Shun started chattering beside her. "Licia, are you some kind of little brother fanatic?" After that, Licia never brought me candy again. Later, her pockets no longer carried orange candies. Instead, they held the earphones Shu Shun kept losing. She gave Shu Shun all her patience. When tutoring her, she would listen with a smile, while Shu Shun acted cute. She would carefully write down all of Shu Shun's preferences in a notebook. Every holiday, she would prepare a gift for her. She asked me to deliver love letters to Shu Shun. She asked me to bring breakfast to Shu Shun. I thought maybe she had forgotten that I disliked Shu Shun. To keep my sister from hating me, I could only force myself to please Shu Shun. I pretended not to dislike her and tried to get closer to her, but lately I felt like I could not keep pretending much longer. The sweetness of orange candy had faded away long ago. All that remained was a bitter taste in my mouth. The candy really felt so far away now. I ran a long way before finally buying breakfast for Shu Shun. Shu Shun accepted it with a cheerful smile. "I'm really sorry. I trouble you every time. Licia said casually. It's fine, don't take it to heart. She's liked running errands for people ever since she was little. My little brother is your little brother too. If there's anything you want to buy, you can always ask him to get it for you. I should have been used to hearing things like that. But when I remembered what Li Yanran had said last night, my feelings suddenly became complicated. She had said that an older sister should take care of her younger brother and protect him. Maybe my sister was just different from other people's sisters. The class bell rang. Li Yanran entered the classroom. My father had arranged for her to join our class. She had changed into a clean, fresh school uniform. Her bangs had been trimmed slightly, revealing her beautiful brows and eyes. She no longer looked as gloomy as she had yesterday. No joke, just standing there. She was so beautiful that even her hair seemed to shine. Someone like her should have been adored at school. But Licia had already warned everyone that morning not to sit with her. So when the teacher asked who was willing to sit with her, the reader comments appeared again. Isn't the little brother supposed to be the evil supporting guy? Why does he seem so sweet? He feels like such a good baby. It has to be fake. The supporting guy has loved acting since he was little. Female lead, don't let his performance fool you. A classmate leaned over and asked, Li Fei, is she your sister too? Licia gave a cold laugh. What kind of sister is she? We're not even related by blood. She looked at me with a faint warning in her eyes. Li Yanran did not look at her. Instead, she walked straight to the empty seat beside me and sat down. Then she turned slightly toward me and said quietly, Thank you. It was rare for me to see her side profile from this close. I could not help blurting out, Your eyelashes are so long. It seemed like no one had ever praised her so directly before. She looked away, and the tips of her ears quietly turned red. She was kind of cute. Something suddenly brushed gently against my heart, making it feel a little itchy. I pressed my lips together and secretly smiled. When Licia saw me, irritation surged in her heart. After class, she dragged me into an empty hallway. Li Fei, what did I do wrong? Why are you opposing me at every turn now? She flicked my forehead. Do you have a new sister now, so you don't like me as your sister anymore? I said quietly, I just don't want to offend anyone. She raised her eyebrows. Scaredy cat? So what if you offend her? Would she dare bully you? You have me. But she had never really protected me properly either. Licia frowned in dissatisfaction. Who says I can't protect you? Just then the class bell interrupted us. I let out a quiet breath of relief. This period was PE, and the very first activity was an 800-meter run. Halfway through the run, my low blood sugar suddenly hit. My vision went black, my legs gave out, and I crashed heavily onto the track. My classmates immediately cried out and rushed over. My pants had ripped open and blood kept seeping from the wound on my knee. I sucked in a sharp breath. The pain was so bad that I could not even stand up. Licia quickly crouched beside me. Does it hurt? I'll take you to the infirmary. Shu Xun glanced at my injury and let out a mocking laugh. Is that really necessary? It's just a small scrape. Why are you making such a big deal out of it? Licia, if you keep spoiling him like this, you'll give him Prince syndrome. Licia hesitated. Again, it was always like this. I could not hold it in anymore. But you make her pay for your breakfast every day. You make her keep the earphones you always lose. Every holiday, you act cute until she buys you gifts. Whenever there's a question you can't solve, you run to her side, use that sweet voice, call her sis, and ask her to teach you. So what? You don't have Prince syndrome? Li Yanran immediately raised her voice to stop me. Li Fei, you went too far. A few seconds later, she sighed and walked over to support me. Shu Xun doesn't mean any harm. Don't take it to heart. I suddenly shook off her hand. Why is it that no matter what she says, you think she has no bad intentions, but the second I talk back, I become the bad guy? Why do you always take her side? Sis, you're clearly my sister. Sis, you're being unfair. I desperately tried to hold back my tears. My eyes burned painfully, but the tears still spilled over. I rarely showed Licia my real emotions. She froze. For a moment, she seemed completely lost. Then she awkwardly reached out, trying to wipe away my tears. Shu Xun stood nearby with her mouth slightly open in surprise. Is it really that serious? Just because someone said one thing you didn't like, you're going to cry? How can a guy be this delicate? I had never cried in front of them my entire life. I tried to argue back, but it turned out that when someone was crying, they could not say anything at all. Then Li Yanran pushed through the crowd. Without saying a single unnecessary word, she helped me to my feet and comforted me in a gentle voice. Hold on, I'll take you to the infirmary. When she moved closer, I could smell a pleasant scent of mint. Lycia's eyes widened as she remained crouched on the ground. We had barely taken a few steps when Shu Shun let out a laugh. Oh my God! You two aren't even related by blood. What if you take such good care of him that he falls for you? Li Yanran gave her a cold glance. What does that have to do with you? Has no one ever told you that if you don't know how to speak properly, you can choose not to speak at all? Shu Shun's expression changed. It was the first time I realized that Li Yanran actually had a terrible temper. When she went after someone, she was like a wolf. No wonder she would eventually leave Lycia and me with ruined families and nowhere to go. Maybe I had never noticed this before, because whenever Li Yanran spoke to me, she always softened her voice without even realizing it. I suddenly froze. So this was what it felt like to be favored. Li Yanran took me to the infirmary. When the nurse applied medicine to my wound, I sucked in a small breath. Li Yanran held my hand. If it hurts, squeeze my hand. I looked at her. Li Yanran, do you think I'm a lot of trouble? Li Yanran smiled. Not at all. In fact, I wish you would trouble me more. I answered softly. Thank you, sis. For several days in a row, I ignored Lycia. At the dinner table, she tried to put food into my bowl, but I would not touch it. When I returned to my room, she knocked on the door, but I refused to open it. One night, while I was curled up on the sofa watching a movie, Lycia hugged a rabbit plushie and crouched in front of me. Then she copied the toy's voice in an exaggeratedly sweet tone. Xiaofei, don't be angry anymore, okay? I dodged the plushie with a speechless look on my face. Sis, how old am I already? You're still using a stuffed toy to comfort me? Lycia smiled. So you're not angry anymore? You're still just as easy to cheer up as you were when you were little. I opened my mouth, then finally could not stop myself from asking. Sis, can you stop liking her? Lycia looked at me helplessly. Shu Shun didn't mean it. She just speaks without thinking sometimes. Don't take her so seriously. She was still defending her. I could not listen any longer. I grabbed the rabbit plushie in my arms and threw it at her. She frowned after getting hit. Why has your temper gotten so bad lately? When she saw my eyes turning red again, she paused, then sighed. Fine, I'll talk to her tomorrow and tell her not to act like that anymore. Is that okay? Let's make up. Don't ignore me anymore, all right? I looked at the way she was trying so hard to please me. I sniffed, and my eyes became hot again. She was still my sister, the sister who had been with me for 18 years. I could not bring myself to ignore her completely. I pressed my lips together. Then bring me orange candy tomorrow. Lycia smiled. All right, you little glutton. I'll bring it for you. For a while after that, she remembered to bring me candy every day. It felt as though life had returned to the way it used to be. She no longer asked me to bring breakfast to Shu Shun, but she started doing it herself. It seemed like she felt guilty toward Shu Shun too. During the weekend, Shu Shun posted on social media, showing off a watch my sister had given her. It was a Wu Weishu watch, and the caption read, Fine. Since that's the case, I'll be generous and forgive a certain someone. I stared at that post for a long time. Was that certain someone me? Had Lycia apologized to her for me? What exactly had Lycia said to Shu Shun? Did she say I was immature? Did she say I had made Shu Shun suffer? So she had to make it up to her on my behalf? It felt like something had grabbed my heart tightly. The pressure in my chest was so heavy that I could barely breathe. When she comforted me, she only crouched in front of me with that old rabbit plushie and said a few soft words, like she was coaxing an unreasonable child. But for Shu Shun, she had to use such an expensive watch to apologize. She had to carefully please her just to get a single word of forgiveness. So that was it. My hurt meant so little to her. All the kindness and indulgence she had shown me disappeared like a gust of wind whenever Shu Shun was involved. Why? I was the one who was her little brother. The next day during break, I passed by the hallway and saw Lycia urging Shu Shun to study again. Shu Shun tossed down her pen and leaned closer to her. Sis, I don't want to study anymore. Lycia flicked her forehead. If you don't study, how are you going to get into the same university as me? I saw everything. I thought Lycia was serious this time, because only when someone truly cared about another person would they include them in their plans for the future. I knew I was disappointed. I knew I felt unwilling to accept it. But more than anything, I was tired. I knew it was difficult to stop caring about someone, But she was like a padded coat in winter. Wearing it felt cold, and taking it off felt cold too. Quietly, I made a decision. Licia had promised that on my birthday, she would give me the model I wanted most. If she remembered, I would forgive her. If she forgot, then no matter how reluctant I felt, I would not keep making myself suffer for her anymore. I told myself that I would gamble on this one last time. If I lost this bet, I would stop caring about this sister. On my birthday, all my friends arrived. Only Licia was missing. Because I was waiting for her, I kept delaying the moment when we would cut the birthday cake. The smiles on my friends' faces gradually became mixed with careful concern. Halfway through the party, I could not take it anymore. I slipped away to a corner of the terrace and called her. No one answered for a long time. Still unwilling to give up, I called several more times. After who knew how long, the call was finally answered. But Shu Shun's voice came through the phone. "What is it?" I froze. "Her phone is with you?" Shu Shun sounded impatient. "Yeah. So what?" I was silent for a few seconds. Then Licia took the phone from her. Her voice was gentle. "Xiaobao, what's wrong?" I had just opened my mouth when Shu Shun interrupted me. "It's all your fault. I told you there was no need, but you insisted on celebrating with me. Hurry up and explain it to your little brother." Licia's attention was immediately pulled back to her. There was joy in her voice that she could not hide. "Xiaobao, let me tell you something. Shu Shun did pretty well on the second mock exam. Her total score was only a little lower than mine, so I'm celebrating with her right now." Shu Shun gave a lazy little laugh. "This time was just an accident. Next time I'll definitely beat you." Her proud tsundere attitude made Licia laugh. "Sure, then I won't tutor you next time." "Fine. Even if you don't help me, I still won't lose to you next time." "All right, we'll see." They bantered with each other as if no one else existed. They completely ignored me. After a long time, Licia finally seemed to remember that I was still on the line. "Oh, right. Xiaofei, why did you call me?" I pressed my lips together. "Sis, did you forget? Today is my Before I could finish, Shu Shun interrupted me again. "Licia, what do I do? I can't solve this question." Once again, Licia ignored me. Naturally, she took Shu Shun's book and said with a smile, "Look at you. You're so silly." Watching them tease and argue with each other, I suddenly felt that it was all so pointless. Really pointless. The wind on the terrace was a little cold, but it also cleared my mind. Why? Why did I have to keep chasing after her? Why did I have to place all my happiness, anger, sadness, and joy in the hands of someone who always put my feelings last? The moment I understood that, the disappointment and hurt inside me suddenly eased. The small piece of reluctance I had been holding onto seemed to be swept away completely by the wind. Forget it, I did not care about this sister anymore, and I would not keep trying to please her. I hung up and turned back toward the party. The candles on the cake were still burning. I took a deep breath, smiled at the worried faces around the room, and said, "We're not waiting anymore. Let's blow out the candles." I closed my eyes. My wish for my 18th birthday was simple. I, Li Fei, would definitely, absolutely live a happy life. After making my wish, I slowly opened my eyes. At some point, Li Yanran had appeared in front of me. She held a delicate gift box in her hands. With gentle eyes and a soft smile, she held it out to me. "This is for you." When I opened it, I froze. Inside was the exact model I had stared at again and again through the shop window. I looked up at her. "How did you know?" "Every day after school, you go out of your way to stand outside that shop for a while. I saw you several times." Li Yanran smiled warmly. Moonlight fell into her eyes, gentle, as if she were hiding an entire ocean inside them. "I guessed you probably liked it." Something lightly bumped against my heart. It felt warm. So there really were people who noticed the things you hid in your eyes. People who remembered the wishes you never said aloud. All of a sudden, I wanted to give her something too. I hugged her. "Thank you, Li Yanran." Li Yanran paused in surprise. Then she placed a hand carefully on the back of my head, as though she were touching something precious. I looked at her. "Li Yanran, my grades are actually pretty good. They're even better than Licia's. I've ranked first for years. You've only just arrived, so if there's anything you don't understand in your studies, I can teach you." After thinking it over, studying was the only thing I was truly proud of. She smiled and gently rubbed my hair. There was an emotion in her dark eyes that I could not understand. "All right." When Licia came home and saw the remains of the party, she suddenly realized what day it was. Her face turned pale. She looked at me guiltily. I'm sorry, I forgot. Can I make up for your gift later? I just bought Shun a celebration gift, so I don't have much money left. I shook my head. It's okay, I don't want it anymore. Licia clearly froze. She probably expected me to get angry and throw a tantrum like I used to, but I did none of that. There was barely any expression on my face. I sounded as calm as if I were talking about someone else. Licia quickly softened her voice and used the familiar tone she always used to coax me. Then how about I buy you a cute little bear plushie? Let that be my apology, okay? I looked at her and said, word by word, I said I don't want anything from you anymore. She noticed that something had changed in me and frowned. Li Fei, what's wrong with you today? I did not answer. I turned around and went to my room alone. It was nice. I even felt a brief sense of relief. This sister who always put me after Shun, this sister I had spent so many years chasing after, I finally did not want her anymore. All the expectations, grievances, and unwillingness I had stored in my heart seemed to find an exit at that moment. They drifted away lightly. From that day on, I transferred every bit of favoritism I had once given Licia to Li Yanran. I would serve her the dishes she liked. I would chatter beside her all day long, calling her sis over and over until even I thought I was being unbearably sweet. But Li Yanran never found me annoying. She always answered me with a smile. She had a cold personality. When other people tried to speak with her, she would usually just give them a distant little response. But whenever she looked at me, the light in her eyes shone brighter than the stars in the sky. Whenever Licia saw us together like that, a complicated emotion would flash through her eyes. She would try to come closer, but I would quietly avoid her. Even when she was being affectionate with Shun, I no longer cared. None of that had anything to do with me. I could only see the person who was worth treating well. The day the second mock exam rankings were posted, I squeezed through the crowd and immediately saw the name at the very top. It was not mine, and it was definitely not Licia's. It was Li Yanran, black letters against a red background, so dazzling that no one could look away. The reader comments were incredibly proud. Yanju is a genius, the kind who never forgets anything after seeing it once. She has read every textbook on the market. Even though that abusive man never bought her study materials, she could just glance at the questions in bookstores and know the answers. She's going to be the top scorer on the college entrance exam this time. Because of this, the Li family will finally see her in a new light and focus on cultivating her. I had not expected Li Yanran to be this incredible at studying. I immediately decided to cling to her. Li Yanran, no sis. From now on, I'm following you. I'm holding on to this golden thigh no matter what. Li Yanran smiled. All right, follow me. I'll protect you. And she really did. From that day on, she helped me identify gaps in my knowledge. Based on my weak points, she even created special practice questions just for me. My grades had already been good, but with her help, they improved by leaps and bounds. The night before the college entrance exam, Li Yanran asked me, "What university do you want to attend?" I told her, "The best university." She smiled softly. "Me too. Then we can still be together in university." On the day the college entrance exam results came out, both Li Yanran and I had done very well. Licia's score was good enough for a Project 211 university, but it was still far below her usual level. Shun performed badly. She had barely passed the cutoff for first-tier universities, and even after calculating everything carefully, her score was not high enough for the schools she wanted. I heard that she threw several tantrums at home. On the day we filled out our university applications, Shun came to our house on her own to fill them out with Licia. For the first time ever, Licia asked for my opinion. I smiled. "Sure, I have no objection. Is she the person you like?" For some reason, Licia's expression did not look very good. Shun sat down beside Licia. The moment those words left her mouth, Li Yanran's phone and mine rang almost at the same time. It was a call from Tsinghua University's admissions office. Their tone was polite but eager. "Student, your score may have reached our admission threshold, although we can't confirm it completely yet. Would you consider signing an agreement with us? We can offer you early admission." Li Yanran and I looked at each other. We both saw the smiles in each other's eyes. She raised an eyebrow at me, and I instantly understood. Into the phone, I said brightly, Thank you, teacher, but I'd like to hear what Peking University has to say first. The smile on Shu Xun's face froze. The jealousy in her eyes was almost impossible to hide, but she still forced a concerned expression. Li Fei, you don't need to push yourself so hard. Wouldn't it be nice to attend the same university as Li Xia? Then you could take better care of her too. I tugged at the corner of my lips. No need, you can take care of her. Then I deliberately leaned closer to Li Yanran. Besides, I have more than one sister. Li Yanran nodded and reached out to ruffle my hair. That's right. I'll take good care of Li Fei. Li Xia looked at her unhappily. What kind of sister are you? I've been with him for 18 years. How long have you even been with him? Li Yanran looked back at her. But have you ever protected him properly? At the very least, I won't make Li Fei feel hurt because of me. Li Xia choked on her words. For a moment, she could not say anything at all. Shu Xun deliberately chose a university in the south, several thousand kilometers away from the university I planned to attend. She knew Li Xia would go with her. She even made a social media post to show it off. What does it feel like to go to a university in the south with the person you like? But I did not care in the slightest. I was busy choosing a destination for my graduation trip with Li Yanran. What I never expected was that at the very last moment, Li Xia changed her university application. She gave up the southern university Shu Xun was going to and chose my city instead. I had no idea what kind of madness had suddenly gotten into her. After university began, Li Yanran started a business in her spare time. She had a real talent for it, and little by little, her business became just as successful as the Li family's. One day I smiled and asked her, "Sis, once you become successful, are you going to bankrupt me and leave me with nothing? Will I have to squat by the roadside and pick through trash just to eat?" For the first time, she got angry at me. She reached out and lightly pinched my cheek. "What nonsense are you talking about? Say that again and see what happens, picking through trash? If anyone ever dares treat you like that, I'll throw them out first and feed them to the dogs. Don't think about such nonsense anymore. As long as I'm here, you won't suffer even a little for the rest of your life." What surprised me was that she was not angry because I had imagined her as some kind of villain. She was angry because I had imagined myself living such a miserable life. She could not bear the thought of me suffering even a little. I thought to myself, my sister really is the best. Because of how outstanding Li Yanran was, Mrs. Li began valuing her more and more. She poured all the family's resources into Li Yanran and gradually started neglecting Li Xia. Li Xia finally got a taste of what it felt like to be overlooked. Maybe for the first time she understood how I had felt when I spent so many years trying desperately to please her. But now, even I was neglecting her. All my attention was focused on Li Yanran. Li Xia was not used to it. Not used to it at all. Since Li Xia lived close by, she often came to visit me at school. Whenever she came, she brought all kinds of snacks and gifts. In a deliberately playful tone, she would ask whether I had been doing well lately. Every time, I only gave a calm little response, accepted the things, and said thank you. I never said anything else. The disappointment in her eyes became more and more obvious, but she still kept coming to see me. The truth was, I did not have the energy to care about her anymore. Because after university, I began to realize that my feelings for Li Yanran were slowly changing. She was becoming more outstanding and more beautiful, and no matter how much money she made through her business, she always transferred it to my bank account without getting tired of it. I could spend forever and still never use it all. Sure enough, when you are young, you should never meet someone too breathtaking. I thought about her every day. I wanted to confess to her. The day before I planned to do it, I received a love letter from a classmate. For some reason, I did not throw it away immediately. I wanted to see how other people wrote love letters and maybe learn from it a little. But just as I was about to open it, Li Yanran appeared behind me without me noticing. Her brows were tightly furrowed. Before I could react, she took the letter from my hands and casually slipped it into her pocket. Then she looked at me and said, "You're not allowed to date early in university." Her tone was serious, but it did not sound like she was lecturing me. It sounded as if she were hiding some other emotion. I raised my head and looked at her. With the reckless courage of someone who had nothing left to lose, I said, "Fine, I won't date anyone else." I gently grabbed the corner of her clothes and softened my voice. "Then promise me one thing." My heart pounded so hard that it felt ready to explode. "We're not related by blood anyway. Can you like me a little? Just a little?" The moment I said it, I regretted it. That was way too direct. She was so steady and mature. She would definitely think I was being ridiculous. I lowered my head and prepared myself for her rejection. But the scolding I expected never came. After a few seconds, Lee Yanran gently rubbed my head. The movement was light, but it made my entire body freeze. When she lowered her hand, there was a soft smile in her eyes. You little fool. It's only natural for an older sister to protect her younger brother. I had never realized that being loved properly by someone could make a person this happy. Even on the most ordinary, insignificant days, Lee Yanran would prepare little surprises for me. Sometimes it was a poster of a sports star I had talked about for ages. Sometimes it was simply a warm cup of milk tea. No matter how busy she was, she replied to my messages instantly. As long as I called for her, she always answered. Even the floating comments slowly seemed to accept how the story had changed. "Aw, this is so nice. I think this is the best ending." The villainous female lead did not waste her life trapped in hatred. Instead, she found someone she wanted to protect. She finally walked out of the mud and learned how to be a gentle older sister. The comments still floated through my vision, but there were no more sharp accusations. The entire screen was filled with warm blessings. I rented a large house off campus. Lee Yanran worried that I would not eat properly while living alone, so she often came over to take care of my daily life and meals. One day, Licia came to visit me with gifts again. By accident, she saw Lee Yanran and me talking and laughing beside the artificial lake. Her entire body froze. The snacks and fruit in her hands fell to the ground with a loud crash, rolling everywhere. The next day, she came to find me privately and got straight to the point. "Li Fei, Lee Yanran isn't a good person. Listen to me. The moment I saw her, I knew she wasn't as clean and innocent as she looked. Her heart is full of schemes. Do you know what she did? She secretly gathered evidence that her adoptive father gambled, owed high-interest loans, and even embezzled construction material funds. Then she handed everything to the police and personally sent her own father to prison. Think about it, someone who could be so ruthless toward her own father. How deep do you think her scheming is?" I interrupted her, my voice completely calm. "As an adult, did you really ever care for me?" She frowned deeply. Her voice softened, but it carried a hint of urgency. "Of course I care about you." I looked at her, my gaze clear. "You knew I hated Shu Shun, didn't you? Then why did you make me bring her breakfast? Was it because too much time had passed, and you forgot that I disliked her? Or did you choose to forget? Or maybe you just thought my feelings were not important, because no matter what you did, I would never get angry. Actually, you were only moved by yourself. Stop trying to play the role of a good person. It doesn't suit you." My eyes turned cold. "Licia, you can see all her calculations, but why can't you see her suffering? Her family rejected her. They bullied her. If she did not fight back, was she supposed to let people treat her that way for the rest of her life?" The expression on her face vanished in an instant. Her lips trembled a few times, but she could not say a single word. I turned around, walked past her, and almost ran all the way home. When I opened the door, Lee Yanran looked up at me. She smiled. "You remembered to come home in time for dinner. That's an improvement." Something squeezed tightly around my heart. The pain spread through me in tiny, dense waves. Behind all her calmness, she had hidden so much suffering that I had never seen. How I wished I could travel back in time and hold that wounded girl, curled up in a corner. I wanted to tell her that things would get better, that someone would treat her like family, that someone would protect her properly. My sudden bear hug caught her off guard. Then she smiled softly and patted my back. "What's wrong? Why are you suddenly crying?" My voice came out muffled. "Nothing. I was just thinking about something happy." She pinched my cheek. "Stop messing around. Go wash your hands. I made your favorite cola chicken wings today." I immediately lifted my head, my eyes sparkling like stars. Chicken wings forever! Sunlight fell over our silhouettes, warm and bright. The end.